Hi, Seth here with BlenderSensei.com. Today we're talking about a feature in the Blender add-on Hacker, which allows you to quickly enable and disable various debug features. So what these debug features do is they either report data to the system console here, or they report information to the info editor as well. So we have the option to enable, disable everything all at once, which is crazy town. So not super useful, except for maybe it's useful for kind of getting a feel for what these things do. Clear all this. To be honest, I'm not entirely sure what all these things do. This is stuff that I found was built into the console editor, but there was nowhere to access it via the regular UI. So I thought I would create that space. There are certain things I do know what they do, and one of those is Debug Events. We can get information on, well, you see I just clicked here. You can see I used the left mouse. You can see that the OSQ is not pressed, Alt was not pressed, etc. So if I hold Shift, you can see at some point it was, see there's a 1, you can see mouse position, etc. So that gives us debug information on like modal stuff usually. Another one is down here, Debug WM. So what this will do is, well, let's turn it off first. Well, what it will do is spam a lot of information about every tiny little operator that goes on in Blender. Let's clear this. So without this checked, say I were to rotate this cube, do some things to it, I will get the standard output of various operators used here in the info editor. I'll expand that real quick, which is useful. However, what if I want to know what operator is being used when I press the scroll wheel, or what operator is being used when I click on this scroll bar, or what if I want to know what operator is in effect when I click on something? For that, we can enable Debug WM. And so there's a reason why that's off by default, and that's because number one, it will spam the console, the system console, and it will also spam the info editor when you do things just like click or scroll your wheel. But however, we are getting information about a lot of View 2D operators. So this is really good if you're trying to figure out user interface stuff for your add-on. And also if I like click on this cube, you can see what was fired when I did that. It was, we already fired another operator between here and there. So yeah, this one, if you're not trying to find what some niche operator is doing, it's best to leave off. But if you are, it can be very useful. So let's disable that for now. Some other things I know what they do. The debug depth graph evaluation, this seems to give us some information when rendering things. If I clear this, once again, let's try this with this off first so we can see what the difference is. So if I press F12 to render here, I'll get this basic render of a cube, but nothing comes up in the system console. However, if I enable Debug depth graph evaluation, I'm assuming that's what it's short for, and then I render again, we get lots of interesting render information. So what is this information? We've got operation is an entry point for update, transform eval, copy on write, transform final, audio entry. Interesting. This looks like the pipeline for stuff happening. Well, it is. It literally says pipeline while it's rendering. So that might be useful when trying to figure out some bugs and when rendering things. Who knows? Go ahead and disable that. And then you have things that are more obvious like Debug Freestyle. So this is obviously if you have the Freestyle render engine on, you might be able to get some extra feedback information that you wouldn't have otherwise. You have the Debug Handlers. If you're using app handlers in your code to do various things like timers and stuff like that, this will give you extra feedback regarding those. I've not got the debug Python to do anything, so I'm not really sure what that one's for. Maybe I'll learn more about these in the future. Until then, if you have the Hacker add-on, you can of course just enable these here. Okay, so that's all I want to do for this video. Thanks for watching, and if you're interested in Hacker, please check out BlenderSensei.com/hacker to learn more about that, and I'll see you in the next video.